Hey yo, what's the deal? You know who it is. It's the Don. Cheer. Tony Teflon. House Teflon. We pull the strings. Cheer. And what up, what up, what up? I'm back at you with another video, another episode, whatever you like to call it. And I'm here to explain who is the prince that is promised. Is it Jon Snow or is it Daenerys? Or is it one person? A lot of people think it's two people. A lot of people think it's one person. The story is kind of confusing and it doesn't really exactly tell you, because when you deal with these prophecies and stuff like that, it's kind of like, just like he says, they give you a little bit, then they take a little bit away. And when you think you got it, you really don't got it. So I think I got this one. So I'm going to get into this and we're going to try to figure out exactly who is the prince that is promised. Now, the prince that is promised is a prophesied leader or savior. A bleeding star is supposed to herald the coming of the prince. The prince is said to have the song and is supposed to be a song of ice and fire. There are two people in the story, well, two main people that are pushing this, and that's Melisandre, who is a priestess of Rhaegar, and Aemon. Now, many people think, or Mel thinks, Azor Ahai and the Prince of Promise are the same person, but I think they're two different people. Mel thinks Azor Ahai is the Prince that is promised. When the red star bleeds and darkness gathers, Azor Ahai shall be born again amidst salt and smoke. Now, when Jon is mad at Mel, Jon says to Mel the things that Mel has said to him, and he doesn't believe it. He says to her, "Oh, a girl on a dying gray horse, a promised prince who was born amidst molten salt. All these things you promised me, where are they at?" So obviously, by that statement, Melisandre and the Red Priest of R'hllor think that Azor Ahai is the prince that was promised, because those are the signs for Azor Ahai. Now, she also says that her prince, Azor Ahai, is prophesied to come 5,000 years ago, it was made up. So that's a pretty long stretch. Now, Aemon, he thinks it's Dany, because he says to Sam, the dragon must have 3 heads, but I am too old to be one of them. I should be with her, showing her the way, but my body has betrayed me. So the dragon having 3 heads is supposed to be part of the prince that is promised prophecy. But Mel mentions nothing about 3 heads to a dragon, only awakening a stone dragon. Now, since Dany did this, Aemon thinks she is the one, but that's Azor Ahai who awakes dragons from stone, not the prince that was promised. And Aemon says the prince that was promised was supposed to be prophesied to come 1,000 years ago. And remember, Azor Ahai was 5,000 years ago. Now, to me, the only one who really knew or kind of got it was Rhaegar. Now, he figured out that they were two people. And we know that he figured this out from the House of the Undying. And it goes like this. Viserys was a first, she thought, next time she paused. By the second glass, she told her otherwise. The man had her brother's hair, but he was taller. His eyes was dark indigo rather than lilac. Aegon, he said to the woman nursing a newborn babe in a great wooden bed. What better name for a king? Will you make a song for him? The woman asked. He has a song, the man replied. He is the prince that was promised, and his song is the song of ice and fire. He looked up when he said it, and his eyes met Dany, and it seemed as if he saw her, standing beyond the door. There must be one more, he said. Whether he thought he was speaking to her or the woman in the bed, she could not say. The dragon has 3 heads. He went to the window seat, picked up a harp, and ran his fingers lightly over the silvery strings. Sweet sadness filled the room, and the man and his wife and the babe faded away like morning mist. Only the music lingering at the speed of the way it was. So, right here, let's break that down. So here we have Rhaegar naming Aegon the prince that was promised. Then he looks up and sees Dany. Now, what Rhaegar didn't realize is what Aegon did realize. Because Aegon said to Sam, we were looking for a male but a dragon has no sex. It can be male or female. So when he looked at Dany, he saw the prince that was promised, but he knew there had to be one more. And that's why he goes to his window and he starts playing his harp. And it says sweet sadness filled the room. Now, sweet sadness to me is because they just had a baby. So they're happy. But he's sad because he knows his wife is sick. And he knows there has to be another prince, two princes. He just gave birth to the one, and there has to be another one. His wife is sick and she cannot bear any more children. So he's sad, like, what am I going to do? So he goes off into and playing his harp in the window, thinking, what the fuck am I going to do, man? My wife is sick. I'm happy, just had a baby, but I have to have another one, right? So that's where I get that. So that's what I think why he did that. And why we can think why he knows that there has to be another one is because he found the scroll. And after reading this scroll, he goes to Sir William Darry, who was the master of arms at the time, and he says, I will require a sword and armor. It seems I must be a warrior. Now you have to remember, Rhaegar at this point thought that he himself was supposed to be the prince that was promised. And he wasn't interested in fighting at this time until he read that scroll. So Rhaegar thinks that he's the prince that's promised, and he thinks he would need a sword because of this scroll, right? So that scroll must have something to say about in it about Azor Ahai, because he's the only one we hear with a sword. So then he makes Jon with Lyanna, and that to me is Azor Ahai. Now making Dany, who would be the prince that was promised. So Aemon and them was right, but then they're wrong. Now we must remember and think to ourselves, at least I think to myself, there's really only one reason to marry a Targaryen. And the only reason to marry a Targaryen and mix blood with a Targaryen is to become a dragon rider, to ride a dragon. So we know that Dany is the prince that is promised. So I'm telling you that she's the prince that is promised. So now we see Khal Drogo married Dany. All right. Now Khal Drogo was going on his own prophecy of the stallion who mounts the world. Now, unknowingly or knowingly, when he marries her, something draws him to marry this woman. He marries this woman, and he's trying to fulfill his prophecy of the stallion that mounts the world, thinking that's coming from his bloodline. Now, Mirror Master, after Dany eats the stallion's heart, that's when the prophecy is said about the stallion who mounts the world. And Mirror Master, she goes and she fucks up this plan. She believes this is a bad thing to happen. The stallion who mounts the world is not going to be good. So she basically knows after she does this that she's going to be killed for this, without a doubt. So she gets Khal Drogo, gets her baby aborted. But when you look at the House of the Undying prophecy of the stallion who mounts the world, and you look at the description of Mirror Master saying that this baby looked kind of like a gargoyle, it doesn't really match up. That would be the stallion who mounts the world, would be the baby that she thought that she killed from Khal Drogo and Khaleesi. But what Khaleesi did get birth to at that time, after that, through Khal Drogo, was the dragons. So it could be seen as one or two things. And this is the way I look at it. It's either Dany is the stallion who mounts the world, or her dragon is the stallion who mounts the world, Drogon. And I lean towards the first. Now remember, you have to go on the philosophy that a Targaryen can be a male or a female in prophecy. So if we go on that philosophy and we look at the stallion that mounts the world's prophecy, it says, as swift as the wind he rides, and behind him his Khalisar covers the earth. Men without numbers, with arcs shining in their hands like blades of razor grass. Fierce as the storm this prince will be. His enemies will tremble before him, and the wise will weep tears of blood and render their flesh in grief. Bells in his hair will sing his coming, and the milkmen in stone tents will fear his name. The old woman trembled as she looked at Dany, almost as if she was afraid. The prince is riding, and he shall be the stallion that mounts the world. Now, first I think it's Dany, because when she looks at Dany, she trembles as if she's afraid, because she knows the stallion that mounts the world's a bad thing. And she looks and she knows Dany is the stallion that mounts the world, the same way Rhaegar looked and seen Dany in the window, but he didn't pick up on it. All right. So it also says in here, if you read it, fierce as a storm this prince will be. Her name is Daenerys Stormborn. And it says that the milkmen in the stone tents will fear his name. To me, I think the only way I could see stone tents is castles. Milkmen could be white men in stone castles of Westeros will fear the name of Daenerys Stormborn. And the Khalasar will follow her, because we know that the Khalasar only follows strength. And her mounted on a dragon would be the strength that she needed. As swift as the wind he rides. Only way I could see that being would be someone on top of a dragon back. Now, that leads me into something else. That leads me into, why does Mirror Master and this lady who does the prophecy think it's bad? Why is it a bad thing for the stallion to mount the world to be Daenerys Targaryen if she's this great liberator of people? And that, if I touch on that, I might have to go off into the Ice Dragon. So if you look at the Ice Dragon story, which is a story that did happen in Westeros, we see a girl out there who seems to be part Targaryen that could ride an ice dragon because her skin can take the cold. Because unlike other dragons, it seems that ice dragons, you feel the cold on their body. You don't feel the heat of the other dragons. So she is able to ride this dragon, and she defeats the fire dragons with this. Now, it's said when she is born that her mother feels the cold in her womb. Now, could that be the cold from the land? Or could that be actually the cold of a White Walker inserting himself inside of her and birthing this woman? Now, as I said, the only reason to marry or be part of a Targaryen is to have Targaryen blood to ride a dragon. If this is the case, then there has to be some type of Targaryen blood if there is an ice dragon and the Targaryens. Now, we know that these babies that the White Walkers make start off as babies. Could they be searching for a Targ baby to turn into a dragon rider for them to ride an ice dragon? Could that be what they need? Because she defeats the fire dragons, and she is the hero of that story of the ice dragon. And the fire dragons are the bad guys. So that goes off into something else totally entirely. But the first part, I'm definitely sold on 100% that Daenerys Stormborn is the prince that is promised, who is the stallion that mounts the world. Jon Snow is Azor Ahai reborn, which is also a promised prince, the hero. And that's how I break it down. But is it bad that Daenerys is that prince? A couple of people think so. And what will the White Walkers do to get this done? Maybe they cannot ride the dragon because they do not have Targaryen blood. And maybe they are searching for the person with Targaryen blood to ride their ice dragon. So, all my new subscribers, thank you. for subscribing. And please put your thumbs up if you like this, and tell your friends about me. Be trying to build this house. We 2,000 strong still. We still growing, people. So let's just keep moving. Keep watching these videos. The more views I get, the faster I put these up. So if you want to see quicker videos, view it more times. The quicker I get to 2,000 views per video, it's the faster I try to throw stuff up, because that's the number I'm really looking for. When I see a video hits 2,000 views, then I try to put another video out. I've been putting them out a little bit quicker, but now I'm really going to have to hold back and try to wait for that. So when we get 2,000 views on the video, we're going to hit the next one. So hopefully we get 2,000 views very quick on this one, so then we can go right back to the Stannis Baratheon video. And we'll do a question and answer video before that, for this video, and then the Stannis Baratheon video to finish up that one. Alright, so until then, as always, it's the Don Chair, Tony Teflon, House Teflon, Teflon 316. And that means we pull the strings. Peace. And I'm out. Stay sexy.